At the Yahweh!
Aloha! Welcome to BearsWave.com podcast. It's March 23rd. We're coming to you from Bears Surf Shack on the 25th floor, high above Waikiki Beach. So we ask you get your surfboards out, wax them up. We're going to paddle into another really fun podcast. We're probably going to have the most fun anybody can ever have today because we've got on microphone number 4, crazy Todd Robertson. Aloha, Todd.
Hello, world.
Yeah, good to have Todd, one of my best friends in the world here. On microphone number 2, Shane.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And you got, Shane is the guy who, if anything goes wrong with the podcast, it's basically your fault, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's in a good mood in Waikiki today because the surf came up. The first good swell, I think, of the season.
You know what? It's not season, but a preseason swell.
Yeah.
And that's what it is today. And definitely there are people out there having the wave of their life. And that's the unique thing about this wave out here is that you can take somebody who's never surfed before and put them on a wave, and it's the best wave they've ever had. And at the exact same time, there'll be some grumpy old man out there saying, "You should have seen it yesterday."
But you know, seriously, I looked out at Pops.
Yeah.
I looked at Bulls.
That's true.
And right now, although it's not epic, it's totally perfect. Yeah, I mean, the waves at Kaisers and Bulls and
I have a
Pops.
higher standard of perfect. Yeah. My
Well,
perfect is a little bit different from other people's perfect, but yeah,
that'd
no
be
doubt.
epic,
I mean,
but the
that
shape
looks-
of the wave is perfect.
I can see Ala Moana from here, and it looks like a good wave today.
Mhm.
And those guys are definitely scoring over there.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's big, but the waves were throwing hollow. It's getting a little bit more of a wind right now. But earlier today, it was throwing just perfect long lefts at Ala Moana Bulls, and Kaisers was going off, and Pops is going off, and now it's kind of getting that late afternoon wind chop.
Well, definitely the boys at Ala Moana Bulls are scoring, and they should be totally stoked when they go home tonight.
Yeah. So Shane, you had a good week.
Yeah. I've been trying to put up the podcast on iTunes, and I've been figuring all that stuff out. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta. Yeah. Everybody, you can get this on iTunes now. It's the cool thing about iTunes is you can download it and keep it on your iPod, right?
Yeah,
So if you're on an airplane,
it's free.
Oh,
and it's free.
I hopped on the computer, tried to figure out what podcast is. Basically, you just record stuff and put it on YouTube, and somebody listens to whatever you were talking about.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it's audio, and by the way, before we go any further, we said hello to Todd, but we're going to introduce him a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to try? You give me your best intro, Shane.
I think there's a noise in the background.
Yeah, he'll get rid of it when he
Okay.
does his post-production work.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's people screaming
Hey,
in
we
the
can't really
background.
get rid of all of it because we have a cheap mixer here.
We're going to get a new mixer this
Yeah,
week,
we're gonna
everybody.
How dare you not have the proper equipment?
No,
when
we didn't
Big
know.
Wave Rider Todd walks into your place. He expects to have awesome.
We
top-
bought the B&H podcast system.
Yeah.
And B&H is awesome, man. I got to go to their store in New York a couple months ago.
What is a B&H?
It's unbelievable.
Oh, that's what it means?
Shane, B&H, that's where we get all of our...
They're
Tell-
like probably the #1 retailer for pro cameras.
That when you do that, it makes a rattling noise.
I couldn't hear it.
He was shaking
Sorry,
his...
people.
When Shane shakes his head, it makes a rattling noise. No. So,
So subtle his insults, yeah? So
I don't get
subtle.
it.
Well,
So
basically,
being
he's saying that your brain is so small, it bounces back and forth in your head every time you
the
shake
marbles in there.
Oh.
your head. I don't know why he said that.
No, but B&H
It's
Photo
a fatherly love to his son.
is the coolest place. It's an amazing place. We get all of our...
Yeah, you've been there, right? You
Yeah,
went
but
there.
you discovered that. We get all of our stuff from
Come
them.
on, everyone knows about it.
Yeah, 'cause
I
it's that
did
good,
not
huh?
know about B&H.
See, he doesn't know.
Is
He
this
knows
like,
everything.
Is it near Dave and Buster's? I don't know.
It's
Is this
in
like
New
a
York.
Dave and New York City?
I mean,
You've been in. You walked all over New York last year. You walked 16 miles from
This is true.
Battery Park to Central
It's
Park.
not 16
You never
miles.
saw it.
It's not 16
13.
miles. No, it's not. It's approximately 10. It's a very small island. There's nothing much to it.
I had my Garmin 410 4Runner GPS watch on. It
Yeah.
said 13.
Yeah, you know why? Because there's not a straight road that goes from one end of the battery up to the other side of
Yeah,
the
what's
park,
wrong with
right?
it? They should have planned ahead.
You know, there's a reason why they call it First, Second Street, Third, Fourth. You know why they call them? Why they have those numbers?
No.
You do not know.
No, because they're. No, I don't know.
For some reason, I thought you knew things about New York City because you worked there.
Well, I did. That was a long time ago. I don't know why they did it. The Indians named it probably before we landed.
So there's a reason why they call it Wall Street.
The Manhattan Indians probably called it First Street before the Columbus ever arrived.
No, I don't think they had it that way. I think it's more of a military type of thing, right? So they put the battery inside there, right? And then they built a wall.
Yeah.
And then once that area had developed enough, then they moved that wall further up. So then that first road there would be Wall Street, the very first street.
Oh.
And then they from Wall Street, what would be the second one?
I would say the second one. I don't know.
Well, it's not much of a thought there as the Second Avenue, right?
So then they said we make it a First Avenue.
It's Third, Fourth.
But
Fifth,
anyway,
and then they keep building up.
somewhere over on the west side, around 50th Street, there is this
Empire
place
State
called
Building.
B&H. Yeah, it's
It's right
due
next to
west.
It's right next
There's
to the Empire State Building.
B&H
Yeah, well, on
photo
50
video.
on that
Well, we're
50th Street.
not even getting paid for this, but it's the coolest place. You walk in there and it's like several stories high.
I don't like B&H.
You don't like their mixer.
No, I don't. I like Sir Mix a lot.
What do you what?
B&H is when you walk in there, they got these like escalator things that cameras are moving around in, and conveyor belts moving all over your head and under and around.
Oh, really?
You got to check
Wow.
your backpack at the door. They get every kind of camera you can imagine.
How
and what's
big is
cool
it?
is it's huge. It's several floors.
Is it like
the
a
whole city
Costco
block.
size one?
Yeah, but it's all cut up. You wouldn't get that feeling. It's not like,
So it doesn't have
but-
like a high roof. It's real low.
No, it's low, but there's several floors.
Oh wow.
And it's by what do they call that? The Jewish what do they call? You're half Jewish.
It's called Puta.
No, I mean
Oh,
I mean the traditional Jewish.
I don't know. What are you trying to say?
You know where they wear the yarmulkes?
Yes.
What's that called?
The Yamaka.
Yeah, okay. Not the yaku like on an outrigger canoe.
I don't
But
know
I
what
mean,
you're
they
trying to
don't.
say.
If you try to buy something on Friday night, it's closed. You don't get to buy
Oh
it
yes,
again
after
until
the
Saturday
sun
night.
goes down, right? All business has to stop. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird cultures thing that the Jewish people. It's all most of those early types of things like that people have attached them to. There is pretty much no true cultural significance for them to happen.
But what's cool about it is that I mean it's cool. You walk in there and you just see every possible type of camera you can buy. So that's why we're gonna call them up. We're gonna get a new mixer to get rid of that high ringing sound. Right?
You
That's
gotta
what
get
it is.
a lot more expensive. Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to introduce you to Todd Robertson. He's known to himself as Big Wave Rider Todd, and to the world. And I gave him the name Crazy Todd about 8 years ago because at that time I had so many people that I knew named Todd, and Todd happened to be the craziest one, so I had to give them all nicknames. But really, I think that nickname, that's kind of stuck because you are crazy.
The Crazy Todd, I've had that name since I was about 8 years old.
You're kidding,
actually.
and I thought I gave you that name.
No, as soon as I began to have any type of independent thought of my own, people start saying, "You're crazy." And so, okay, I just kind of went with it. Pretty much.
It's true then.
If you meet me and talk to me, within a few minutes, you'd be already, "Oh, this guy's crazy." But it's not really crazy. It's just that
Outside the box.
I have my own way of thinking and seeing the world, and I pretty much don't want to conform to anybody else's way of seeing it. If somebody comes up to me with a logical way of seeing things that's better than my own, then maybe I'll switch and think that way too. But at the moment, I haven't seen any other way to change that way of thinking.
No, well, let's introduce Todd from back when you were first conceived.
Okay, well, my
that
dad
must have been a crazy moment.
Sure. I mean, my
How was
dad,
that?
My dad was breathing really hard. My mom was probably on a rock.
But let me ask you a question. Were you fighting off all the other?
Well, I
what do they
imagine
call
it's
those?
probably 200
Were you
feet.
elbowing them when they were trying to chase you?
You know what?
To the...
I have this vague memory of being in a cave and many other people trying to make it to the top. Right?
Hey, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question.
That's a quote from Jeremiah.
Was it like that time when you There's that cave in the ocean on the North Shore where you dive under and you swim till it gets dark.
Oh,
and you
Shark's
swim
Cave. Yes.
It described that, and is that pretty much like when you were a sperm? Was it a similar experience? Do you remember?
No, because imagine.
Well, first explain the cave thing.
Okay.
Tell me about that, and then I think it was probably pretty much like when you were just a sperm. Don't you think?
No.
Okay, well, explain the cave thing because I think it's probably.
Okay, well, so Bear wants to talk about some water experiences, and rightly so. I mean, that's something cool to talk about. One of the most favorite things for me to talk about is myself because I do pretty cool stuff. One of the things I do during the off seasons is train for big water hold downs, and a good way to do it would be going out and mimicking a long hold down in the water where you don't have an opportunity to come up to the surface whenever you want to. So you would do is go out, find a cave in the water. You have a lot of lava tubes out on the North Shore.
What's a lava tube?
A lava tube is a canal at which lava would travel to the ocean.
So it's like a tube that it would flow through.
A canal, a tube.
Hot lava.
And hot lava, and as it.
It's like a pipe.
Very much like a pipe, and as it cooled, and it would leave that shell, outer shell, and then you'd if you see this, you can dive down inside them. And what makes it unique is that you're in 30 feet deep water, and then you dive down 30 feet, you see the cave, and it's like a 60 to 70 foot long cave, and you swim through the cave and pop up the other end, and swim up to another 30 feet to the top of the surface again. But what makes it fun is that you're mimicking a large wave hold down.
I think you're mimicking a spermite, is what I think.
I don't think so because I don't think you need too much oxygen down there.
Okay.
But down there, you're exerting yourself. Plus, you don't have other types of bacteria killing you off, and you don't have
just sharks
all the other types of
and eels.
Well, you don't have all the other sperm trying to get in your way, right? Because you're trying to make it to the final goal, right?
Yeah.
So.
So anyway,
Make a long story short and less slimy. We're gonna be let's finish talking about the water. Like, Bear, where is your mind?
I want to get organic. You can't get more organic than that.
Okay.
So anyways, how long is this?
About 60, 70 feet long. But the thing is, what makes it mimicking a large wave hold down is once you're halfway through, there is no way I'm gonna turn back around.
Right.
You have to stay there until either you make out the other end or you don't make out the other end. So you force yourself to deal with a heavy situation. And it's pretty fun.
Well, you said that, I think when you I've never done that tube there. You said there's one where you swim into the darkness and you keep swimming until you see a speck of light.
Yep.
How long is that swim? How many seconds? Not feet.
Oh, I don't know.
Is it over a minute?
Oh, about a minute 20 seconds.
Yeah.
First, it's about 18 to 20 seconds to get to the tube. Another minute and a half, a minute and 20 to get through a tube, and then another 20 or 15 seconds, a little bit faster getting back up on the other side.
To get up, yeah. So.
But the thing is, the period of time in the water is not the issue. It's the amount of energy being exerted during that time.
Right.
And so I would say anybody who thinks that they can do that, first go to the beach, hold your breath, run 50 yards. If you can run 50 yards at your fullest sprint while holding your breath, I say you can give it a try. But if you don't have that ability, then maybe you shouldn't. This is not a course on the proper way of killing yourself. It's a course on the proper way of trying to survive a bad situation.
No one I know that rides big waves has a death wish. They have a life wish. They want to live life to the fullest. And so there's a lot of training and a lot of safety, a lot of technique to all of that, the toe-in approaches and things like that. So you have this, I don't know if you still do this, but you used to have this thing you would do at the beginning every winter, the first winter swell. Well, first swell big enough to break at Waimea. What does it take for a wave to break at Waimea?
A lot of energy.
Yeah, how big would you say the face is?
The face of the wave got to be at least 30 foot if you want to be legitimate. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that I do personally that I've kind of found out that works good for me. And one thing is try to build confidence right away, the first part of the winter, you want to build your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that hinder a lot of people is, I don't want to wipe out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm afraid of the wave hitting me.
Mm-hmm.
You're not alone. Nobody likes that.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. So what I do is, when the waves get big, I'll just paddle out there, and the first big heavy wave comes through, I get to the top of that wave and I jump off the top of the wave.
Well, I do that too, but I jump towards the ocean. You jump towards the pit.
I jump towards the, I guess, better
You
way
call
to,
out mommy like I do?
you want to describe it properly. You want to say you want to jump not towards the pit, you want to jump towards the trough of the wave.
Towards the trough, yeah.
What happens is that'll be the lowest point of the wave.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in the pit, you can be coming down with the wave or whatever like that, but you want to be in front of it so that when you hit the trough, the lip of the wave hits you and then pushes you down
Drills you
as
deeper.
deep as it can be, and have the most violent wipeout you possibly can have. And then, you know, get it in.
Yeah, so guys, if you want Todd to coach you and be your guide on the North Shore, that's the first thing he's going to do is
Holy
tell
smokes.
you to wipe out.
I'm starting to feel the effect of this coffee.
Yeah, who made that? That's not the kind Shane made.
Well, it's obviously, it's Seattle's best. It's not Hawaii's
Well,
best.
how do you know it's Seattle's
Well,
best?
because it's not Hawaii's best. First
Yeah,
of
but
all,
I mean, there's 2 different stores here in Kalakaua that claim to be Seattle's best. How do you know which one really is Seattle's best?
well, I don't think you quite understand the sales approach that they're having out there, Bear. Right? It's sales, dude.
Well,
Sales.
there's one there that says they're Seattle's best, and there's one over here that says they're Seattle's best.
Yes.
Which one is Seattle's best?
Seattle's best.
I don't get that.
That's what I thought.
They should
It's
have
okay.
They should have a big fight. They should just fight it out.
Bear, you want people to listen to this, don't you?
Thank God you've got coffee, because I think you'd be going to sleep. This whole thing about riding big
Really?
waves kind of puts me to sleep. I don't know. About
You're
this.
always tired around this time of day, aren't you?
Am I? No, this is my.
Because you just got you're all done doing your workout though.
I just did my beach workout. I only did 6 miles today, though. I didn't have to.
I did 25 coconut trees.
Tell me about that.
Sucks. I'm a slave.
What is the Latin? Coconatus?
Oh, no, I
Palmatrias?
think it's necrophilius.
No, come on. What is it?
Google it right now, necrophilius.
No, that's dead people.
Yeah, what do you think the coconut
Google
looks
that
like?
shit,
The coconut,
coconut in Latin.
actually, it's the skull.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's necrophilius. That's what it is.
Oh, that's really true.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
But it's skull of a person with 3 eyes,
Yes, there you go. Now you're starting to put it together.
2 eyes, and 1 throat.
I want to tell the audience about that one time when I worked with you over at that the house where I saw you swing. You swang to the other tree.
Oh, that was the Doris Dukes estate.
Yeah, people out there that are listening to the podcast, I saw Todd swing from one coconut tree to another coconut tree to
Just
save
kidding.
time, basically, not to climb down and climb back up. And it's so normal to him. It's amazing. When you see him up there, you're just, I can't even believe he's doing it. Like,
What
he
was
makes
he doing? What do
He
you
makes
mean
coconut, cutting coconut trees like an art.
What do you mean swing from coconut tree to coconut tree?
He
Was it-
literally was hanging over a cliff on a coconut tree. And what'd you do? You throw a rope.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to explain to the audience what this technique is? What he does is he swings over to the other tree.
Yeah, it's for the people who don't quite understand, if anybody has ever seen Spider-Man, right? And,
Yeah.
and they swing from one. Spider-Man jumps from one building to the next building. He's using a rope to kind of link himself to each one, and that's what I'm doing. I'm linking myself to each coconut tree. But this particular ones he's talking about at Doris Duke's estate, they're like 100-foot trees, but they happen to be on this cliff, which is another 60, 70 feet. So you get this sensation of even being higher in the air. And the guys start
Because you are.
not really, but it's a pretty good sensation. It's nice. It feels good.
Very nice.
Mm.
And Doris Duke Estate, she was once
For
the
anybody who
wealthiest.
doesn't know, Bear has deep blue eyes.
Yeah, I think. Well, what color? Yeah.
Whenever he looks at you, he's
you-
like, "Wow, this guy got blue eyes."
You got kind of you got blue eyes too, huh?
I have good-looking eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of
No,
those
his are
big-
usually kind of a red, white, and blue. He's got those all-American eyes. They're kind of reddish. But, for those who don't know, Todd is wearing the brightest yellowish green shirt, I think.
Yeah, those shirts are so popular out here in Hawaii. Those bright yellow shirts.
Yeah.
Every time I see one, I guess I had to wear one at one point.
Well, that's how we identify all the slaves.
Yeah.
See, now we can't put like like a mark on them like how we used to, or take like a spike and jab it through the ear and say, yeah, it's a slave, right? They don't do that no more. They give us yellow shirts.
Yep. It's the most. It's the most
degrading thing you can think about.
Yeah. But it's in disguise. Like people don't know it. It's like you have to.
Yeah, like, oh,
it's the only way people will tolerate.
What was it like working for Todd? Was it delightful?
That was a great day. We had so much fun. It was exciting. I mean, I couldn't do it every day. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I mean, what a workout! After you pick up all those branches and you're cutting them up. And
well, this goes to my theory. I remember when Todd was, he'd go work out like at 6 a.m. at 24-hour fatness, and then he goes to his work, which, you know, as far as a core workout, I can't imagine anyone being more strong than Todd, because he's leaning over with a chainsaw, reaching this way and holding with an arm that way, and so pound for pound, probably the strongest person I know. You know, every little,
well, you're only saying that because it's probably true.
Because it's true. Every little muscle twitch, every fiber has been exercised. A lot of people go lift weights, but they're missing a lot of their muscle fiber.
Bear, let me interrupt you here briefly. You know, you just give me too little credit. I mean, you try to say that how strong I am, but you know, people will never understand truly my internal strength.
Are you talking about your body odor? Or you're talking about your muscle? But here's the okay. Funny. So now let me ask you this question. You probably don't want to talk about this, but I think it's one of the greatest stories I've ever heard. You know, because Shane and I have trained in martial arts. And
Shane's
he's the kind.
I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, Stephen Hayes, Master Hayes. Hopefully one day we'll have him on the podcast. But so we've both, you know, done our training in the ninjutsu.
Is that,
okay,
is
so
that,
what?
Wait, ninjutsu? Are you talking about? Is that a ninja?
It's the ninja.
Yes.
There's very few people who get to train in ninja.
You guys are ninjas. You guys are 100% real life ninjas.
Yes, we could probably assassinate you if you wanted us to. No, but it is.
But
we are very fortunate to get to train with Master Hayes.
2.5 seconds.
No, we really are fortunate to.
Oh, look who was just walking.
Hey, what's up, Chuck?
I've been texting you for like the last half hour.
Well, you've been.
Well,
we started a half hour ago. Come on in. Chuck's here. Microphone number 2.
What's up, dude?
Chuck Inman is in the house. Everybody, sitting down. Microphone number 3. I'm sorry.
Got left out.
Okay, so no, but what I was driving at is we know in our dojo, respect is a really big issue. There, you really have to show respect, right? So what we're talking about is when Todd was training with Andreas.
Oh, dude, hey, come on, Bear. I asked you
Come
not
on.
to talk about this stuff, dude.
You don't want me to talk about it? I won't.
Well, it'd be funny.
Okay. Andreas is our instructor over at the Gracie Dojo.
You shouldn't actually
Gracie
say his
Gym.
name because you didn't got no permission to use his name. He might come over here and choke you.
Yeah,
one
he
night.
probably will.
Like,
He's a wonderful. No, you know what though? The thing about
Why
Andreas
you talk to me
is
like
he's
that? Why you talk about my dojo like that?
No, Andreas is very, very humble, and also he's not a violent man.
He's so nice.
Although he could kick your butt.
He can kick anyone's
kick my
butt,
butt.
and yet he's so nice.
But most of the people that I know that are when I trained anyway, that were in the black belt or higher, the nicest people in the world, because they got nothing to prove.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
badass, and they don't have to prove it to themselves.
Everything
or
else
anybody.
is baloney.
But what I want to talk about is we've come through this environment where in the dojo there's real respect, and then you went through a situation in the Gracie tradition. Once you've trained for a month or 2, you get to just roll. You can just get on the mat and roll and grapple and have fun. So I want to hear about the story when this brown belt came in from the mainland and decided he wanted to roll with you.
I want to hear about the story about the time I went to Australia carrying your surfboard across that place. That sounds more
That's
fun.
a good story.
I mean, fighting solves nothing.
Yeah, but I think it's a great story.
And
it wasn't fighting.
I thought it was.
So you don't want to go there? You don't want to go there? That's okay.
Well,
come on, the audience wants to hear it. They want to hear.
We'll say that for another episode.
All right, I
thought I was gonna come over here and talk about surf, or we're
let's
talking
hear about when you went to Australia.
Talk about one time I went to Australia land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Barry Woznick told me he wanted me to go, so I said, "Pay for my plane ticket, I'll go." And so he's like, "All right, I'll buy you a ticket." And I flew out to Australia land and drove his surfboard across from Sydney to Noosa. So I got there. And
Tandem surfboard, a huge board.
Well, the board was
12 feet.
No, it's not. I don't want to consider it a board because it's not really a surfboard. It was designed for 2 people. It's more like a boat.
More like a party boat.
Well, anyway, I get there, right, and Bear was all stoked, and he went out for his 15 minutes and lost and went home, right? And
It was a 15-minute heat. I think there was one trickle of a wave that came through, and everyone kept saying you should have been here yesterday.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
And you're right. Then I went home the
the
next
whole
day. I was gone for 70 hours from Hawaii.
Yeah. The whole experience was pretty cool because like every day was eventful, and I'm sitting right here next to a world champion tandem surfer, well, two of them, Chuck here, and I'm standing there on the beach, and all of a sudden I see Chuck walking up the beach, right? And he's there with his partner. What's her name? Yeah. What's her?
Tiff.
You got to be this close to the mic, Chuck.
Tiff.
Tiff. Okay.
Any.
Because she throws a lot of them.
Well, anyways, he's standing there, right?
Yeah.
And he's bleeding, right? And
I remember that.
I look over there.
You got to be this close, Chuck. This close.
I remember that.
So he's bleeding, and his partner's bleeding, and there's blood and guts everywhere. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, we jumped on the rocks. I'm like, what? And they ended up competing with like holes in their legs and stuff.
But was the surfboard okay? That's all that matters.
You know what? I think.
Was the surfboard okay, Chuck?
The surfboard fine.
Hey, when you shake your head up and down, Chuck's doing texting while he's
No,
here.
I'm not.
And he's shaking his head up and down and back and forth like it can't.
I don't want to
it's
get in
an
the middle of
audio.
the story.
It's an
Todd's telling
audio
a story,
podcast.
and I want it to be real and true, and
Well, it's just,
I don't want to interrupt.
Well, anyway, so there was Chuck being rescued by the lifeguards. Right?
They weren't rescuing him?
These big, muscly guys all over him, right? And they're like
These short little Speedo suits.
Yeah, the Aussies like the Speedos.
It's so funny, right?
And they shave
Totally
their chests.
suck.
Were their chests shaved?
And they're like, "Oi, Mike, do you need a brand knife for that?" And he's like, "Well, I'd like to have one for my, can you clean up my cut?" "Oi, I seen," and they're over there doing their weird Australian mojo on his leg, right? And I just like watching the whole entire thing, how funny it was.
Noosa.
What's the name of the town?
Noosa, Australia.
Noosa, Australia.
It's a
They
great
have an
place.
event once a year over there or something.
Yeah, around Mardi Gras.
The thing about Australia, it's a great country. It would be even better if they didn't have any Australians there.
Yeah.
I mean, the place would be so
It would be
great.
so much better.
It'd be
Well,
so
they
great.
invented gravity, according to
Really?
my friend Andrew King. Yeah. You know why? Because they're upside down. So they were the first ones to think about it.
Really?
Yeah, so they don't fall off. Yeah.
So, Chuck, why did you fall on the rocks?
I wonder why Chuck is texting. Who are you texting? This is just like in school. Give me that
Turn-
note. Let me see what this is all about.
Why did you fall on the rocks? I mean, did you see the giant boulders and rocks?
We
everywhere?
were practicing. No, where were we? We were just getting out. We're
From
actually
Tea Tree.
we,
Tea Tree.
Yeah.
Oh, a Tea
We were
Tree
just
park.
trying to get out to go surf.
So Tea
And
Tree's
it was
just around-
all coral and rocks and crazy.
Tea
Yeah.
Trees is around
Yeah.
the corner from this.
So he's telling me that the waves are good over there, right?
They were
I
good.
go, and we're talking about this is over, almost a half a mile from the spot where we're surfing
Yeah.
in Noosa. And I go, "Where's the spot at?" Because like my first day, right? And he goes, "Oh, see the ground?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Just follow that blood trail." literally.
Oh,
That's true.
no
That's
joke.
a true story.
Wow.
Oh,
And I'm
man.
walking. I'm like, "Okay, there's blood. All right, there's blood." And like almost a half a mile.
Oh, your
later,
heel was gashed on.
Yeah, follow the trail.
Oh, that
go
was-
positive
I remember
all
that
the
now.
way back.
Was
to
Yeah.
the beach.
Is that
Good
reef
surf.
pretty sharp over there?
Sharp? But I mean, it was just rocky and it was
not
good
like
surf, but it
coral.
was just
Because isn't it like you can die like most of the stuff in Australia that's out in the reef and the water, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of
It's
short
so
borders out
dangerous,
there.
like, there's
a lot
so
of
many
short borders.
yeah, it's crazy.
crazy animals out there, like kangaroos and stuff.
They got freshwater alligators.
I got
Right, or
lost in the
crocodiles.
jungle right there. They had that little jungle.
Well, you
but-
went-
Yeah.
I
I remember that.
With
That's
Crystal.
right. That's right.
Did you see?
I remember
But you
that.
saw koala bears, right?
I saw something.
But you were lost for like. We were waiting for you forever, and finally just left you. You and Crystal were lost in the jungles.
We shouldn't talk about me and
Crystal
Crystal being
Palace.
lost in the jungles of
my,
Australia.
my great tandem partner,
That sounds like
Crystal
a
It was
Palace,
horrible.
Hawaii.
Cone of silence.
It was.
I don't
horrible.
even know how you found your way back to the house we had. You were lost in the jungle for like 3 or 4 hours or something.
We walked over there, right? And Australian people don't know how to spell, or you don't even write down miles and stuff, right?
Kilometers.
I don't know what that means. So they said this KBG, whatever, and they said go this way,
KM.
right? And then there's other one said go to the right. So there's one goes to the right, left, one goes to the right, and so I decided, okay, let's go to the right. Yeah, we're walking, and it's like this is pretty cool. All of a sudden the sun starts going down. I'm like, hey, we gotta go back. But I knew how long it took for us to get there, right?
Mhm.
There was not enough time to go back to where we had came
Mhm.
because the sun would be down already, and we wouldn't even see the trail. But we seen the trail in front of us. At least we can keep walking this trail. bad idea in Australia land, right? Do not keep walking the trail at night.
It's not like an island. I mean, it's a big island. Like in Hawaii, if you get lost, eventually you're going to go around the whole island and you'll come back where you started. But in Australia, that's a big island.
Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of it's uninhabited, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you go the wrong way here, if you're supposed to go left instead of right, within about a day, you're going to end up back where you started. but in Australia land, that's months, a year to go around that continent.
You just don't come back. You just don't come back.
Yeah.
Period. And
did the koala bears slowly attack you?
Tell you, I seen things that nightmares are made of.
Did you hear noises? Did you hear those kind of weird birds that hear out?
I heard one bird,
Mm-hmm.
and her name was Crystal. And that thing.
I heard that bird.
That thing was. Why did you tell me to go this way? I can't believe you did this. Why am I gonna die out here in the middle of the jungle?
Did she cry?
Sometimes I still hear that bird.
She didn't cry.
Walking.
Oh, birds.
She told me that you
How
were.
dare
She
you call
told me
her a bird? I can't believe
that was Chuck said that. That was you, Todd.
Well,
I heard that she told me you were
rewind this
crying.
thing and, we'll find out who actually said it.
She told me you were actually. But I remember you were driving in that car, and the surfboard was supposed to be on top of this camper van, but it didn't fit. You couldn't tie down, so it was in between you and the passenger seat, which was on the left side or something. You're driving down the right side or something, so you couldn't see to turn left, right? You couldn't see what was going on. Out the window.
Yeah. So I'm driving this van, right? And you know, if you've ever driven a long distance with anybody, it's very irritating, right? Because it's the same dude, same conversations, doing the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you just nature of humanity, you're tired of looking at the same guy, right? And so my friend Jeremiah was there, right? And the surfboard is in between us, and so I cannot see all the way to the right.
You
So
can't
every
even
time-
see him, right? He's
Well,
so
not
next to
even
you,
see
can't
him
see him.
practically. And so every time I walk into the other lane, Jeremiah, how's that lane? Good. Jeremiah, how's that lane? Good. Jeremiah, how's that lane? Good. For 2,000 miles, how long before you get pissed off? How's that lane? About 5 minutes, right? So every once in a while, he'd be like, yeah, it's good. And all of a sudden you hear this big, loud, giant horn because they have big trucks over there, right? And because I'm getting into that lane, this big truck almost kills us. And then Jeremiah's rolling. That's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's how you
It's
entertain
tough
yourself.
though, because the right side is suicide, right? You got to do it, be on the other side.
Hey,
of the road.
remember that one incident that happened with Jeremiah at that stoplight? The guy that would, like, socked him.
I
or
seen
something
it,
like that?
man. I seen it, Mike. I seen it, Mike. Well, Australians plus alcohol equals stupidity. Well, not all of them, just most of them.
Okay, now we know.
Just to clarify that.
Every podcast we've alienated Australians. It seemed like.
Well,
now you're here doing the same thing, and we love them. They're our closest
really-
cousins.
really,
You don't really mean it.
I like Australian girls.
We're back on.
Okay, so maybe it's good we. So you made
I tell you about the first time I met Chuck.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
I don't even know this. Was I there?
Yeah, Chuck.
Was this
right?
when he was waiting tables at McDonald's?
No.
No, I'm kidding. He never did that.
I was down on the beach hanging out with my ex-wife, and that's pretty much what I used to.
What's her name?
Her name was Lehua,
Sorry.
the black Hawaiian lady.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep.
How you used to try to grab her butt all the time and stuff like that? Nasty.
It wasn't like this. It was like.
Oh, he's exaggerating his
No,
arms.
no,
The
you
size
don't know.
of a
It's
table.
a
You see?
podcast. You can't see anything.
He was first describing his hand motion not by a small little pinch, but by an extension of his
way
arm.
you described how big of a fish you caught.
But hey, good times. So tell us about.
This half hour is sponsored by.
Hey, you know what, you guys? Speaking of which, we do have to do.
We
let's
have
do
a sponsor now.
Let's do that. We have a couple sponsors. You want to do that?
That was a great
Yeah.
segue. I didn't even plan.
Yeah, it was great. Let's do that. Maybe we better get out of that subject anyway.
Yeah, that was a good.
No, we like to welcome our
Escape.
sponsor on it.
You grabbed me. It was so fun. Okay,
On
never mind that.
it.com, and Shane kind of turned us on to onit.com. You want to talk a little bit about that, how you discovered it? And
Well, I discovered it from Joe Rogan Experience, the podcast. He talks about it every episode. And I decided to try it, and I experienced really good results. And it's not a placebo effect because a lot of people think it is, but really it's just it works really well. It helps me go to sleep. It gives me great dreams, awesome dreams, and I get to think clear. Like I literally get to. It's no problem. Like doing math and stuff is real easy for me.
Basically it's the guys over here are starting to have a. Basically, it's vitamins for your brain. Is the way I talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've been using it now for about 3 months, and it's been really dramatic. The difference in clarity of thinking, how fast your thoughts. It's not like you don't feel any hyperness or anything. It's just that things that your words come to your mind.
It's all the stuff that you could eat. You could get it from foods and stuff, but it's you could just get it as a supplement, right?
Right.
So.
And the thing about it is I take 1 or 2 in the morning along with all my other vitamins. Here's the thing: is I'm a big believer in taking vitamins and minerals.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I paddled my surfboard across the Molokai Channel, like maybe 12 years ago, my Tandem surfboard, and the next morning I had breakfast with Kim Bradshaw. It was just and it was kind of funny because at the end of breakfast, I reached in and took out my baggies. You know how every morning at 6 you and I have coffee and I have these baggies full of vitamins?
Yeah.
It's like my breakfast. It's like better than oatmeal, but at the very end, I reached into my pocket to bring out my baggie of vitamins, and it was funny because he did it at the exact same time. This baggie full of vitamins, so you finish your coffee with it. And then when I was done with my baggie of vitamins and he was done with his, he took out another baggie, and I go, what? And he goes, well, those were my vitamins, these are my minerals. But yeah, I've been using Onnit and the Alpha Brain.
Yeah, I don't always take it because sometimes I feel like I get an overdosage of it. You know what I mean? Like that's normal. I think you shouldn't always take.
Well, I only take 1 in the morning, and I take 1 about 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's what I do too. And then there's a day where I'm like, I don't want it today.
You don't need it. Yeah.
But I think that's good to do because you don't want too much vitamins. You don't want to,
You have to find out what your balance is. I think. Yeah. But we love it. I think it's given me a lot more clarity in the way I work, and I love the. When I take it about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because I wasn't doing that, and then when I started doing that. I usually get up at 4 o'clock to go to work. Now I tend to get up at 5 because I get a deeper sleep, and I don't wake up at all in the middle of the night. It's because it helps you go into a deeper alpha sleep, I guess. So anyone who's interested can go onnit.com, and we can provide you with a 10% discount if you. It's how do you spell it? ONNIT. ONNITT. Let me check it. Make sure I got the. If I can check it real quick.
Oh, I've seen that before in the store.
Not that. That's. Oh, Shane, you got to help me with the website. It's ONNIT.com, and all you do is put in, and you can get a 10% discount if you put in the code BearsWave. That's BEARSWAVE. So it's actually had a big impact on my life, and we'll talk more about that another time. Shane, Chuck just downed about 40 of them. No, it's Alpha Brain, and it's just vitamins for your brain. And then we'd also like to.
My headaches have actually gone away.
Yeah, I
think from taking that. I'm not even kidding you.
You don't hear the voices anymore.
I don't hear the voices.
I had this pain in my butt, and it went away like the whole week until I got here.
You took that?
And then it came back.
No, he's talking about as soon as he ditched his girlfriend.
No, really, I had this pain in my butt, and it
what'd
left like Friday evening, and then it came back this Friday.
Why do you guys have to exercise?
Because we don't. Well, I live a sedentary life. I'm a CPA, and Shane's an editor.
Yeah, I'm an
filmmaker.
editor. I need a
We have to choose to go exercise.
Why don't you guys just go to the beach?
You have to be closer to the mic, Todd. There you go. And Chuck's too close. He's like kissing the microphone.
All right.
So
for people who don't know who Chuck is, right? Chuck's like.
I'd like to change the subject back to Bear.
No.
What?
Don't do that. Don't.
Oh,
talk
we're.
Don't
It's
talk
a
about
beautiful
this.
evening. Look at the sky tonight. It's beautiful.
It's gonna be a beautiful sunset. Chuck's feeling romantic, I think.
No, I want to hold hands right now and look at the sky.
Hey, where's the tequila you said you're gonna whip out for everybody? The Jack Daniels.
Maker's Mark.
We don't have it. Chuck
Liars,
didn't bring it.
cheaters.
Well, I thought you didn't drink.
I don't. I just want to see you guys get drunk.
In honor of you, we're drinking Perrier, and I don't like to get drunk. I never do that.
Yeah, this week I'm good at. I don't want to drink it.
Yeah, we just happened to.
I get pretty.
Have a shot of whiskey the last couple times. Yeah, I never really like to drink to get drunk. I've never been like that.
Is it true that the moon chases the sun?
Well, hold on. Before you do that, we got to finish our commercial break.
It doesn't make sense though, because you
It
do
doesn't make
enjoy
sense.
the
Yeah,
buzz
the moon
from.
cannot-
No,
the
I
sun
don't.
chases
That's
the
not
moon.
why I drink it.
The
Though.
sun
I drink
chases
it
the
because I
moon,
like
right?
the taste.
Wait.
I literally do. I don't like to drink to get drunk.
Oh.
No, I never have been like that. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
it does.
Yeah, it's the sun chasing the moon,
but
not
I
the
want
moon
to finish.
chasing the sun.
I want to finish Chuck's statement about how beautiful it is outside. He was segueing into the fact that people we're sponsored by surfnewsnetwork.com also, and you can go to surfnewsnetwork.com and you can go to the Waikiki cam and you can see the view we're looking at right out our window. They have a camera right in my window, so you can see the view that we look at.
Oh, this is a beautiful, beautiful studio. I mean, you can have everything you ever wanted right here. You have the mountains, you have the ocean.
You have the Makai, we have the Mauka, we got the rainbows in the morning over here, and rainbows in the evening over here. And on a clear day, you can see Molokai 30 miles away through the saddle between Diamond Head and the mountains.
Yeah, like if it doesn't rain for a long time long.
Bear, did I ever tell you the time that I didn't paddle to Molokai? I felt so good.
No, but did you do that, or are we going to do that, Todd? We're thinking about doing that. You got to not rattle that stuff.
What is that? That's we're being rattled here.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about doing the paddling stand up this time.
Yeah. I'm flying high in coffee right now. I usually don't drink coffee in the afternoon, but that's probably a good reason not to do it.
So I want to now. I cannot let this podcast continue too much more without asking you to please share with me that great story about when you remember I used to bug you because you never had your picture in a magazine, and then one day he did. And I was.
Oh, yeah. This is Bear's favorite joke. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I always have to tell this on Todd, and he got in his magazine because he was only standing on the beach watching the pipeline masters, and he was only about an inch tall in the magazine.
It was actually sunset.
Okay, sunset. And then like 2 or 3 years later, though, you got your picture in a magazine too, and you were only about an inch tall because you were riding like about a 60-foot face or something like that. So, can you tell me about that day, the first tow-in contest in Oahu?
It was good times. That's back when I was much younger and stronger and better looking. But that's not how Bear would have liked me to
I
say
think
it.
you're
Bear,
really good
Bear
looking.
has a little phrase that he likes me to put before I say the story.
I try to coach him.
Well, he tries to say, back when you're bronze, purpled hair and green.
No, you have to put it in the right sequence.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to remember how.
Bronze, blue-eyed, bronzed, and rough, and in your prime.
It's in your primal state
Bronze,
of unknowing
blue-eyed, bronzed,
uncertainty.
and buff, and in your prime.
Okay, so there I was,
Blonde, blue-eyed, bronzed, and buff,
and buffed,
and in your prime.
Oh, also on the prime.
I still think you're in your prime.
Far from it. I'm what they call a broken down old piece of.
Now that you have a baby, and which, by the way, Todd wanted to name this baby after me, which is really an honor. But he told me he really wanted to name the baby after me, but only if I would change my name to Lilo.
Talking about surf, dude.
Wait, I want to finish that. Only if I would change my name to Lilo. Okay,
Yes.
so what about the surf?
There's a surfing contest tomorrow.
What a Hasa event?
It's a Hasa event. It's going to be at Ali'i Beach Park tomorrow for Saturday and Sunday. I'll be surfing it Sunday.
What's your rank right now?
I'm probably third in the state.
In the state, in what division?
Open longboardman.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But that doesn't mean I'm good. It just means there's not that many competitors.
Yeah, and that you're consistent.
Yeah.
And you are good.
Well, the thing is, right? The whole entire planet Earth, everyone who's alive today and physically able to surf, has an opportunity to surf in this contest. They choose not to. That is why I'm fourth.
I thought you said fourth was third. What would you say? Fourth is the first last place?
No. Fourth is the new first.
Okay.
All right. So there it is. The story. I went out and surfed a big wave contest and did well in it, and they invited me a couple more times to surfing them, and it's pretty much what I did.
But what I love about that was the very first tow-in, and for people in let's say Estonia, who don't know what tow-in surfing is, what is tow-in surfing?
Estonia.
Yeah, just south of Kailua.
Okay, so basically they've only held 2 of the events since then. They've only had 2 events of this toe in surfing, but they have to wait for a certain size criteria.
Like what is that criteria?
50 foot.
50-foot faces.
Yeah, at least 50 foot faces. Yeah, and then that's when they're gonna hold the event. And well, the first year didn't quite make the 50, but the following year did.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe there's 3 of them they had.
It's the top half of that building I'm looking at right now. That's what I'm, it's
Think
50-foot
about
face.
think about a 4-story, 5-story building. That's
You
how
know,
big the
big
waves
wave
are.
riding is not that difficult, especially when you're towing. Just don't fall down. You're already going at a really good speed. You're eliminating.
What is towing? Describe the technique of towing, so people.
All right,
know.
towing. I guess the best way to say it is when waves become too large to paddle into.
You can't paddle fast enough to catch them. So you need-
So no matter how fast you paddle, no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to catch that wave. That's when you should be tow surfing. You get guys in Jaws now, right? Paddle into those giant waves over there, right into the biggest waves in the world. They're showing you, hey, look, you can still paddle into 50-foot waves. So that's changing the criteria for tow surfers. Because prior to that, guys would be out there surfing Jaws when it's that size. Now they can't. Now they have to wait to the point to where guys can't paddle into it, which it should be. You should wait until you can't paddle no more.
So people over Jaws are pushing the limits as far as how big the waves can be and still paddle in on a rhino chaser. How big would that be? 11-foot board?
Oh, those guys are psychopaths. They'll use a 10-foot board.
Yeah, 10-foot board, 10-foot, that 10-foot to 11.5-foot board. Designed just for catching big waves.
It's very a particular type of thing, right?
It's a very
like you use a certain type of tandem board, and Chuck will use a different type of tandem board, and Polly Chambers will use a totally different one because it's unique to your personality. It's an expression of yourself, basically.
But for people in Nebraska, it's a longer board so that you can get up the speed to get.
Yeah. The reason why you have a longer board is because you need to generate enough speed to get down the face of the wave. But if I'm using a jet ski, I don't need to use that big board because I'm using the machine to generate that energy for me. So that's what that is.
Yeah. So you're using. How long is your jet ski? Your board that you usually use?
A 6 foot, a 5'11".
Do you use lead shot in it, or people?
You know what?
To give it mass.
At the time, all right. It was still kind of like it still is kind of like an evolving sport.
Yeah. Where
the guys are trying to figure out what works the best. And at that time, I did use lead, and it was like in the board itself. But now I don't.
In the center of the board, like in the longest string.
In between your legs, little balls. Well, some guys have bigger balls, right? But right between your legs, you'll see where. Bear, you're looking at me and smiling. It's not like that, Bear. Some guys have, big lead balls in order to stabilize that board. You gotta use those big balls.
They're usually like shotgun shot.
Well, some guys have little balls, right? And they just don't ride bigger waves.
So going back to more of the way you do it, not the technical elements of it.
Well, you
so then you're getting towed in by a jet ski, and the jet ski is how powerful? The most powerful.
Well, basically, you take the engine from the Ninja motorcycle and throw it inside the jet ski.
So it's the most powerful jet ski made.
No, not
fastest.
No, it's not the most fastest.
Prettiest.
You want the most torque. What happens? You want to be able to go from a very slow speed to a fast speed, pulling on something very, very strong, like your tractors, right? They're big, strong, powerful engines, but those guys ain't gonna win no races.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to be able to go. You want to have a fast start.
I want to be able to have a really quick, fast start, pulling a lot of weight, which is going to be save me.
So then I
like save myself.
So the technique then, when you're out there, there's a whole technique to the tow in and to the safety issues and
that. There is a lot of technique involved, and to go into it would be easily an hour just to describe every little aspect of it. But I'm just trying to give a broad.
Okay, let's go that way.
Right?
Yeah.
Basically, you get a machine, pull you about 30 miles an hour. You follow the track of the wave. As soon as the wave begins to build, you let go of the rope. And you slide down the face of the wave until it begins to generate enough energy to propel you down the face. down the line, and then you do your thing, kick out, and hopefully your driver is on it and recognizes that you're finished with the wave, picks you back up, take you back out.
But your relationship with that driver it's tight. You guys train together all the time, and you basically have to assume that when you go out and surf like that you're going to die, and that he will grab you somehow and resuscitate you. If you can't make that assumption, then you really shouldn't be out there.
I train for the worst case scenario a lot, and fact of the matter is I've had to resuscitate people in the water. If you don't think that way, this could be the last moment, right? But at the same time, you want it to be the best moment.
Right.
You want it could be the last, but I'm not out there thinking I'm going to die. No, that's the last thing in my mind.
But you wouldn't be out there if you didn't trust that. If you didn't trust your jet ski partner, you wouldn't be out there with.
Oh, I wouldn't. No. A typical partner, I work with a guy. Each one of them over a year to 2 years before I put him to giant waves. Only every once in a while, I'll come to a unique situation where I'll put somebody on a wave, which he has no experience, but I will not let that guy put me on a wave. I'll go ahead and put him on a wave, but ain't no way on this planet I'm gonna let that guy drive on there because my experience will be different from his. Like your son, Jeremiah, I put him on some of the biggest waves ever ridden that one winter, and his experience was almost none. But he followed my directions and he came home safe.
But that jet ski driver has to be able to track. I mean, it's whipping him in at the right place, choosing the right wave.
Your wave knowledge is different from when you're surfing. When you're on a jet ski, everything's happening at 30, 40 miles an hour. So you're gonna have to have like a lot of understanding of proper timing and understanding of how the wave is going to break, where it's going to break, how much distance the wave is going to travel before it ends. And a guy will be, as you pull him into a wave, he's 30 feet behind you on a rope. And so you're on the top of a wave driving, you're trying to match the speed of the wave.
Mm-hmm.
And when he lets go, right?
You don't see him.
You don't see him for briefly, like maybe like 4 or 5 seconds. Like some drivers, which there are a lot of drivers out there, right? Will drive behind the wave, and then they're just wishful thinking, hope this guy's going to make this wave. Personally, I don't like that.
You
style.
Go right up to the peak and look.
I will drive up to the lip of the wave. I'll look over the lip and watch the guy surf, just in case something happens. I don't want to be playing a guessing game. So you get all different type of styles
Well, your style is definitely the one. I mean, that's if you have the skill to do what you're saying, that would be the way to do it.
I think so. Just because it's worked for me, and the guys I've trained all will do it the exact same way as I do it. And if they do not do it the way I want, I don't want to surf with them.
You won't let them tow you in.
I want them to surf. They won't even be on my team.
Right.
I'm not going to allow these people to come out there and you're going to put me in a dangerous situation. One of the reasons why you want to be on the top of the wave looking down is because there's other surfers. There's other guys on jet skis. So there could have been a guy in front caught the wave prior to you. All right, and if you're driving behind the wave, all you see is white water. That guy can
run
pop
right
up
over him,
right on top of you, and I've seen professional surfers knock teeth out of people with their skis. It's very dangerous. When things go bad, they go bad really fast. It's not like a slow thing.
And it goes bad extreme.
And it's typically, not one single thing had gone wrong. It's a whole set of things have gone wrong. First, you had bad training. You didn't communicate to your partner what you're gonna do. You didn't position yourself properly. You didn't wait the right enough time to go rescue the guy. If all these things stack up, and all of a sudden, boom, something bad happens. So it's not usually one simple thing that went wrong. It's a whole sequence of things that have gone wrong in order for you to make an accident. Mm-hmm. And so, if you train guys to follow a certain way to do it, then your how can I say it? Your risk drops,
mm-hmm.
and that's all it is, right? Because you can't take away the risk. There'll always be risk, but you can kind of like do like a, I don't know, for lack of a better
minimize
word.
it. Yeah. I mean, when I train to get my pilot license, it's the same thing. They always say it's not an error; it's a whole buildup of errors.
Yes.
And it's always pilot error. Ultimately, it's something the pilot did not consider or think through properly. Eventually, it gets down to that because there's usually something you can do. Usually, there's something you can do if you're ahead of the curve.
Or something you could have done, or something you didn't do.
Right.
Sometimes it's something you didn't do, and then all of a sudden something bad happens, and that's kind of bad, when you see guys like like the
What's the
surfers.
worst thing? What's the worst thing you've seen then?
What's the worst thing I've seen?
Or do you mind telling us?
One time in band camp, I was.
I'm talking about toe-in surfing, the worst thing.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was talking about something else. Oh, your mind.
What comes to mind? Doesn't have to be the worst.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen so many weird things. I don't know what you consider them. Actually, I consider them learning lessons.
Give us
but
one.
Not to do next time.
Give us one.
All right. One time I was surfing the Moku Manu Islands off Kailua there. And it was a
Right
big
by Estonia.
Yeah, actually near Chuck says he knows this place called Estonia.
Yeah.
But it happens to be near Kailua, but I don't know that town.
Actually close to Sweden. But
Kailua, people don't know, it's on this island. So.
It's on the east side, the jungle side.
Yeah, it's the islands over there.
The windy,
Yeah, so you
rainy side.
think the wave is an east wave over there, right? But there's two little islands that set out in front of that Kailua.
Not the Mokes?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just
Okay.
said maybe I didn't. Moku Manu Islands, yeah.
Oh,
the
Moku
two
Manu,
twin islands they have out
Mhm.
there. Well, they stick out so far, they actually have a little north face to them.
Mm-hmm.
So when waves come by, they hit that and they wrap around, and on the backside of that rock, there's a left that breaks there. Very nice
I've
left.
been out there where it's been breaking. Yeah.
You have been out there?
Mhm.
What do you think about the wave?
Well, it was probably maybe an 8-foot face.
Okay, yeah. So this
So it
is
wasn't
like
like the day
30-foot
you're talking
face,
about, yeah.
which is not like extremely huge, but it's a very intense and powerful wave breaking on a shallow reef. Well, what happened was this guy.
And the reef stays shallow, right? You're not gonna. There's no
What's that?
deep. There's a deep channel off to one side, but otherwise there's no.
Oh,
It
yeah,
doesn't
the
get deep
shelf
because it's just
stays shallow
all
for
the way.
long waves.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you get hit by a wave, you're gonna stay down for a long time. You're not gonna just pop up really, really quick. And that's the problem I'm trying to explain to you. A bad situation I've seen. Since it is a perfect left, you can sit right there in the channel, turn your ski in a horseshoe manner, and just throw the guy down the face of the wave. And all you have to do is make a little horseshoe turn. The guy drops into the wave, and you just sit on his shoulder, and you can drive along the shoulder of the wave and to watch the guy surf. It's a easy wave to pull somebody into. It's one of those right there type of waves. Pretty simple. A big wave came in. The driver whipped his partner into the wave. The guy wiped out. Big wave.
The surfer wiped out.
The surfer wiped out, and the operator was sitting on the ski and seeing it, and he's watching. And here comes another wave, right? And so he's like, really, first of all, the guy's a highly skilled surfer, professional surfer, and a toe surfer, right? Really smart guy. Just made a bad judgment call, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's sitting there in the channel, and he's waiting for his partner to come up. Partner doesn't jump up yet. He's waiting. Here comes another big wave. This wave's really big, another 30-foot face wave. And he's like, he figures he knows the general area where he has wiped out, and he can figure that he can go right in that general area, because that's how smart he is. He can kind of figure out exactly where he's at. So he spun over there real quick, and he sat there in the white water waiting for the partner to come up. He waited too long. The wave comes, and he was almost ready to land on his ski. He had to make a choice to leave, which is you're supposed to. You're gonna lose your ski, right? Well, as soon as he decided to leave,
You mean not to jump off the jet ski, but to take off?
to drive the ski out of the impact zone.
Yeah.
He floored his ski,
There.
and as soon as he floored his ski, the guy popped up right in front of him, and he smacked his face with the front of the jet ski.
Oh my God.
So the guy had just had a heavy wipeout, comes up, takes one breath, gets hit in the face, knocked out his front teeth, goes straight to the bottom of the ocean again, gets another 15-foot wave on his head, or 30-foot face wave on his head. And the guy goes out to the side of the channel, and then he's held down again for a long, long time. And then this time, everybody is out in the water screaming at him, wait! So we wait.
Wow.
And when the guy finally comes up, he's coming up back first.
Uh-oh.
Always bad sign, back
So he's
face.
knocked out.
So, yeah, he was unconscious. So he spun over there and grabbed him. And
He grabbed him by the hook. He had a hook on the back of the.
he had a rope, a lanyard on
So
the back
does that
of his
happen a lot?
So he had a lanyard on his. on the back of his safety vest
Yeah.
by the neck. Okay.
Whose fault is it that gets hit? If they get hit in the head by
The jet skier. The guy in the jet
operator
skier?
of
jet
the ski.
skier, or is it
Yeah.
just unpredictable?
No, you just don't go in there.
There's
Or
a
maybe I
certain
didn't
routine.
describe it properly. The guy should have sat in the channel waiting for the guy to come up. He chose not to sit in the channel, but go in the white water to go pick him up.
Okay.
And that was his first mistake. And then his second mistake is waiting there too long. His third mistake was, as soon as the wave come, to accelerate too fast out of the situation. So he broke all these little rules, and then that was the end result. You
Yeah.
know. So is it an accident? Yes. Could it have been prevented?
Yes.
Oh, well, yes, it could have been prevented. And so that guy got his face split open, and so we had to throw him on the skis, and we drove to the Marine Corps base right there on the beach over there. I don't even know the name of
Yeah,
it.
Kaneohe.
Yeah, and we drove up on the beach.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, there's a lifeguard
Yeah.
stand there, right? And so the guy's bleeding, and so we were trying to hurry him to the beach. Get to the beach, we all beached our skis, and then we're pulling him up and trying to drag him to the lifeguard tower, right? And the lifeguard tower is Ian Masterson. He's a lifeguard there, and he's also the professor over at UH for Hawaiian Cultural Studies, right? And he also teaches the class on ocean safety.
Wow.
And so it was like random thing like that. So here we are, we're trying to put this guy's face back together, right? And here come the Marines on their trucks with their machine guns, and they're like gonna arrest us for invading the beach.
It was a surfer
we just did
invasion.
a beach landing. We just did like a full on 8 skis, boom, hit the beach, and we're like doing a beach landing. And they're thinking it's like Hiroshima time or something. I don't know. They're crazy, and good times. So I learned right there firsthand. Poor judgment leads to bad situations.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the worst, no, but that's just one I can just come up off the top of my head.
Yeah, wow. Well,
Murphy's Law. If something will go, if there's something that can go wrong, it will go wrong.
How come Chuck comes here, doesn't say nothing, just stands there and he's like, yeah.
He's
You're
here
the
for
guest.
looks.
You're the guest today.
He's the guest.
Ask
too.
him a question.
Chuck, can you tell me about the first time you took a woman and...
That's private.
Wait a second, this is just...
It's private.
I just want to hear...
That's private too.
This close.
3 strikes, you're out.
You know,
I'm just sitting. I'm learning. I'm sitting here. I'm gleaning. I'm gleaning from you, man.
all right, so...
There's very
loving
little.
it.
There's
I'm
very
loving
little to
it.
learn. Just
My
get
question
little-
to Chuck is...
I've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. I listen twice as much as I talk.
okay, good. So tell me about the first time you laid
That's
up.
private too. That's 4.
Oh my gosh, this guy won't let me ask him a question.
Okay, I want to ask you though. I want to go back to this first thing I'm trying
Why
to
are there
bring
so
up.
many questions to me? There's like
Because
3 people in this room.
you're crazy Todd. I want you to tell me about.
How come Chuck has so much
Todd,
muscles?
you're a big guest, Prez. You're a big guest.
He uses Alpha Brain probably.
Chuck, is it true?
Chuck, you're taking Alpha Brain now?
No,
Oh no.
we'll get him to try it one of these days.
Chuck, is it true if I go to 24-hour fitness?
Chuck is texting. This is what he does.
No,
He
I'm
texts.
looking up Todd on my phone. I want to see if I have
Don't
him
be
under
so-
Big Wave Rider Todd or if I have him under Crazy Todd.
He doesn't know
I don't
how
know
to talk
which.
without his cell phone in his hands.
It could be Big Wave Rider Todd or Crazy Todd. I don't know. I think it might be Crazy Todd.
But I love this. I love this. During this first tow-in contest, when you dropped in, your partner was towing you in.
Oh, that was actually the second contest. That was actually.
Okay, I want to
that
hear
big
about
wave.
that. Such a great. it gives a great sense of
How we
perception.
how we doing on time?
Why are you that hungry?
It's 1:11.
You know, we
And what
got-
time is it? What's that countdown?
We're gonna go about another 20 minutes, maybe.
20 minutes is not
Whose
long
phone
enough.
is ringing? You have enough time to tell us. I want to hear about this great wave when you were. What are you doing, Chuck?
Nothing. I'm just
He's calling. Chuck is calling
I'm
Todd.
editing my contacts.
Chuck is calling Todd. He's deleting Todd from his contact list.
Hey, you know, so they have that Surfing the Nations contest coming up at the end of
In
May.
May, yeah.
And they're going to have a tandem event there.
Yeah.
The ISA. Is
ITSA.
Who?
ITSA.
It's a what?
Yeah, ITSA.
ITSA is going to be sanctioning it. And
Yeah.
so I wonder if Chuck is going to be doing this
Are
contest.
you going to be judging it? Or are you going to surf in it?
I hope so.
You hope so that you're
Yeah,
going to
this
judge it,
close.
or you're not?
I hope I'll
Chuck
be there.
either gets too close or too
I
far.
hope I'll be there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm a very good radio personality. I have a lot of things to say, and I believe that's super important. So when I ask you a question, you should just answer it like, yes, sir, no, sir, that kind.
Yes, sir. What's your question,
My
please?
question is, are you going to judge the contest?
I have not been asked.
Are
He's
you,
not
are you
certified.
going to compete in the contest?
I have not been invited.
Are you going to talk more?
Maybe.
You know, sometimes Chuck's muscles get in the way of him talking, right?
I like to you know what? Seriously, we have talent in the room today, and I respect talent.
Thank you, Chuck.
And we have more talent.
Or were you talking about Todd?
I respect talent, and I love the stories, and I love living through the experiences and hearing about people's teeth being knocked out and they're not mine, and running skis up on the beach and getting ambushed by the Marines, and I love those stories. So those are things that stick with me, and I enjoy it to listen to them. So I don't want to interject. I don't want to interrupt the flow of the story.
You know, I do appreciate how you live vicariously through my stories. You know, you're not the only one, but there are other people like Bear who also live that way.
It's not that. It's not just your waves. I live vicariously through the way you cut down trees and you trim trees, and I run into you on Diamond Head, and you're in the middle of a project, and your slaves are on the road doing the work for you.
That's what.
Don't worry,
that's
they're not
what
listening.
Todd
They're
calls,
working.
That's what
They're
Todd
not listening
calls
right now. They're
workers.
working right now for you.
That's what Todd calls his workers.
That's ultimate respect when you know a guy sitting next to you is making money and he's just sitting here talking to you.
Well, so one of the things about Todd is he is one certified head judge for the International Tandem Surfing Association.
Oh, that's so funny. My head is so big. I wonder how it fits in this room.
Yeah.
Shane opened a couple windows, so I think we're okay.
Right now I'm blushing because
No,
it's
you're
not
not.
every
Sunburned.
day a world champion compliments you, and I feel honored and the privilege of that. And
Did you judge the contest when he won one of his titles?
Crickets.
Chuck.
Crickets.
I think actually 2 of them I did. At least
Yeah.
2. At least 2 of the
Yeah.
contests that you actually won. I did judge, and the thing is, right, in the tandem world, there's only a very few handful of people who even understand what the thing's all about.
Mhm.
And I have a couple of the competitors who are my friends, and I wish for them to do well. And Chuck's one of the guys I wish to do well in it. And Paulie Chambers is also another guy I wish to do well. And it's funny because I always get asked advice from other competitors. Oh, how do I win? What do I gotta do to win? And I always tell them, go to YouTube, right, and see what Chuck and Tiff do. That's how you win,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're like, really? That's all I gotta do? I'm like, yeah. See, Chuck?
There is a fair amount of luck involved too, though. You know there is. There just is.
well,
Because
okay.
you get waves. Sometimes you're the only one left out in the lineup and you get a wave. Sometimes you're... I remember the Duke Fest
Yes.
last year.
That was a story that was unbelievable. I'm in the tower watching the whole entire thing unfold.
I'm inside with the 2 other teams. We all caught waves, the 3 of us, and we're all paddling back out. And Paulie is the only one in the lineup, and he catches the wave, not of the session, not of the heat of the day. He catches the wave of the day, it was like probably a head high wave on a day where it was probably only knee to waist high.
Yes.
And a set came through, and I was like, ah. And as a competitor and as a surfer, you look at that and you go like, oh man, over, done, over. It's like frick. And that's not skill. It might be patience that he waited for it, but it doesn't matter. The fact is he caught it. He got it.
I think it's interesting that when it's only the male part of the tandem team, that we talk about Paulie got it, or Chuck did this, or Bear did that. But if the women were here, you would be saying, oh yeah, Paulie and Crystal caught this wave.
Oh,
But when it's just the guys, we just give it
never
up.
caught that way. I seen that. Polly was paddling for that thing. She was just going for a ride.
Yeah. Well, it's usually the guy that will spin the board and go, and he'll initiate the initial turn.
It has to be the guy, but it's the team that catches that wave.
Yeah, no, they're both paddling. I'll give Tiffany lots of credit. She paddles very hard, but usually it'll be me that'll.
And we really don't. We don't really even need the girls on the board.
No, not really.
They're just accessories, like wearing a watch.
Like one of the contests I helped judge once, a world famous tandem surfer from France land came over here, right? I can't really remember his name, but I don't know, kind of tall guy. Anyway, he's over here, right? And his partner, her name is Sarah. I remember that. But Chuck and him and a couple other people are in his finals, and this guy is a phenomenal surfer, right? First of all, he's outsurfs most of the people in the tandem world. The guy's a really great surfer. And then his partner, an athlete, like an elite athlete. She's really talented.
She used to be in Cirque du Soleil, I think.
In what?
She used to be in Cirque du Soleil.
I don't know what that means. I don't speak French.
Is that how you say it?
Circus girl. She
Mm.
was a circus girl.
Circus.
So she was. Bear's trying to call Sarah a circus freak. I don't know why he would say that. It's kind of weird. I feel almost embarrassed for him.
Wait, who again?
Cirque du Soleil, it's that acrobat troupe. It's
Yeah.
incredible,
I know, but
extreme.
who was it? Who was her?
Sarah.
Sarah. Oh yeah.
So they're out there, right? And Chuck, this is the finals, right? And Chuck's catching waves, everyone's catching waves. And here's Puerto Rico, 20 months into the contest, not catching one single wave. And that goes to along what he's saying there, right? Sometimes you get to a situation where the wave comes your way and then you catch it and you do well. And sometimes, no matter how talented you are, that wave just don't come.
Or you get that wave, and then all of a sudden you're out of rhythm with the ocean,
and
the
that's
ocean.
why it's hard to put surfing in the Olympics, right? Because you
Well,
don't
that's
know
what they
the
say.
conditions, right?
Yeah, that's what they
Unless they
say.
made it artificial.
You want a standardized swimming pool wave,
Yeah.
or sometimes you'll catch a good wave.
But
like
you remember
what
that,
was.
Chuck? You remember that?
Yeah.
Where he sat there.
Yeah.
And I seen the water boiling in the area he was sitting in. He was so pissed. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
he caught like one wave.
Yeah.
He caught one wave, and he scored very well
Yeah.
on that one wave. If he had
Yeah.
put two of those together, he probably would have won because
Yeah.
that one wave was outscored everybody else.
Right.
And Chuck and them won because they caught two waves.
Yeah. And
Uh,
sometimes, like I said, you're just out of. You catch a good wave, and like what you're saying, you're on the inside looking out, and then the great wave comes in. You're just out of rhythm with the ocean. You're like
Yeah.
3 minutes out of sync.
There's no rhyme or
Uh-huh.
reason.
And the heats are so short.
There's really no rhyme or reason. You just seriously, you gotta, you can pay the ultimate price for being patient, or you can get the ultimate prize for being very, very, very aggressive.
So I
Either
guess
one.
can you say that live by the sword, die by the sword type of mentality out there?
I think you just have to stay true, like you do when you big wave surf. You have certain rules you abide by, and you stay close to those. And sometimes you stay to those rules, and sometimes you don't get the ultimate ride, you don't get the ultimate feeling or whatever. But that's okay, because you go home safe, and you go back to your daughter and your wife and your life, and everything is good. Same thing with tandem. I think you adhere to a certain philosophy that you believe in, and for me it's more of a patient waiting game for the most part. Sometimes it changes, but for the most part it's more of a patient waiting game, and you can die by that, or you can
Yeah.
live by that, because everybody will be scrambling. Someday they'll be scrambling for the little waves, and you'll be the only one out there, and then you'll get the set wave, and then you can shine. But
Yeah, my normal way is what I've. Of course, it depends on the wave conditions. I usually like to get that first wave under the belt, and then build my points, build a foundation. You know, if it's a great wave, it's a great wave. But I like to get the first wave under my belt and just build a foundation. And the next wave, you want a better wave. And then, while everybody on the outside is wave starved and they're starting to paddle in to get a smaller wave, I can sit on the outside and wait for the big ones to come.
That guy, this whole entire strategy comes into play when you're out there in that field doing that, and it's great, you know.
It's a lot of strategy. I don't think people know it when they're watching the event.
Yeah, you know,
If it's a
that's
contest.
just trying to catch the wave. So
Right.
much strategy and just trying to catch a wave, and that's not going to say, oh, you know, the lifts and the sequencing that you put them
Right.
together and the whole entire format which has been set into, right? It's just
And the wave strategy is usually set by the guy. You know, he's the one choosing the waves. He's the one that's making the decisions as far as that goes.
I think there is a reason for that. I mean, as long
He's
as you
the
have
one
a
that has to
logical,
surf.
well, there's a logical reason behind it, right? Somebody has to surf, right? And typically, the male has more surf knowledge than the female partner,
Mhm.
and then so that she's going to have to rely on his or yours or whatever's person out there on that guy's stuff. So it just makes sense that the guy would choose the wave. But I noticed that the girls choose the lifts, and that's pretty much the winning teams. The guys who make it onto that podium, the girls are the ones who chose those.
They're
lifts.
working through the sequences.
Well, sequences and
I
the
mean,
lifts
in
themselves.
the water while they're or before
No,
going
prior
out.
going
yeah,
out in the water, right? The
It is
girl
true. That is
will
true.
sit there and write them out on a piece of paper.
Yeah, Crystal
Hey,
used to do all kinds of mechanics and every kind of variation, and
Well,
depending if this doesn't work, we go that. We go this way. We go that way. That's true. She spent
Well, it
tons
just
of time doing
it just
that.
makes sense because she's the one doing the lifts,
Yeah.
right? You are the one on the water catching the waves. So why would you be able, unless your experience was way beyond her.
Well, if you're surfing at a world-class level, that woman has got a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And I usually, when we're dropping in on the wave, I usually have my partner call out the lift. We already know what we're going to do, but I have her call it out because I'm thinking about the guy on my left. Is he going to drop in or isn't he? I'm thinking a lot of wave strategy. So I have her tell me one more time as we're dropping in what the first lift is going to be, because you've got so much on your mind when you're the tandem guy. As you drop in and you think, oh, well, we're going to be one arm back. Was it going to be a back angel, or what was it going to be?
Well, also the wave can change, so you have to change.
Yeah, everything is changing constantly. So I let her focus on the lift. Yeah.
So Chuck, prior to you and your partner go out and catching waves, it's pretty much I can see when you do it, you're pretty much like a machine. You are immediately up in the air and you're going right straight to your 3 or 4 lifts you're gonna do, and pretty much you don't vary from that. You stay from one next to the next to the next to the next until you finish, unless something happens, like somebody gets in your way or there happens to be a stumbling in your lift, right? But it's like a regiment. You will always do the exact same lift every single time, or will you say, okay, I'm tired of this Americano thing?
You mean in competition or in practice?
In competition and practice. Pretty much even when he's out in practice, right? He
It's a
will
machine.
immediately go straight up.
She used to be my partner. We used to just surf like a machine.
Yeah?
It's true.
Yeah,
She's automatic.
So tell me more about that. Why do you have that system?
Well, I think you go into a competition, and there's several rounds, but you basically will prepare for the final rounds, and you of course get judged on 2 separate sequences, and so you're going to have a sequence for a harder sequence. You have basically two hard sequences, and you have to nail them both within the time period of that final heat. And so you each wave is different. You get a set wave that's got a nice face on it, that's juicy. You may not be able to do one of your 2 major sequences, so you gotta make some on the spot choices. You gotta change things up, and then or maybe do things in out of order. There's certain lifts that you could surf in better, certain lifts that you can pop up and put a lift up quicker than another lift. So a lot of it's done on the fly. A lot of it's done with just with a lot of chemistry and history and experience in mind. Knowing there's a lot of times where I'll pop up and I'll put my hands in a position to do a certain lift, and I'll call out a different lift, and Tiffany will know exactly what I'm doing because of where my hand position is. So I might say one arm back, but I got my hands in a back angel position. She knows right away that I'm full of crap, and I'm going to do a back angel and then I one arm back.
And what's cool about that is, so to us you look like a machine, but it's the fact that you guys know each other inside.
Absolutely. It's very, very deceiving. What may look really seamless and choreographed is not always the case when you're out there. There's a lot of back and forth conversation.
Isn't that the reason why you love it so much? Is there's always a new twist.
Yeah, I mean it's never the same. No wave is ever the same, and no sequence is ever the same, and a lot of things come together with luck and just the way what the ocean gives you, and sometimes sometimes you get beat by another team. Sometimes you get beat by yourself. There's just that's what's great about it is you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's why I think we love the competition.
Yeah, you guys been together for a very long time, tandem surfing, so you guys know, like, you're locked in basically every time you surf, right?
But there are teams.
I would have no idea.
Yeah.
But there are teams that have been surfing together for 30 years. I mean, it's really amazing when you get the kind of. But Chuck and Tiffany get a lot of time in the water, and it's just amazing how they become fluid. Like they're one mind, one heart. They know they're just flowing with the wave.
When you're like golfing or you're playing softball or baseball, and you're swinging for the fences when you get that pitch that looks really good, you swing as hard as you can, and it's just too much. It throws everything out. Same thing with tandem. Is when you go out there and you try too hard to do exactly what you've been trained to do, you sometimes will just strike out. Whereas if you just relax and flow within what you know you can do, and you give it a nice comfortable swing, then those are the ones where you usually will hit a home run. I've found. Yeah,
it's a great way to say it. I think we're kind of getting close to the wrap up on this session. I hope everybody out there wants Todd Robertson to come back.
Crazy Todd!
We got a lot more stuff for Crazy Todd to share with us. He never did get to finish his story.
I like my baby Lilo to say goodbye.
Yeah,
baby Lilo come in?
Come in here.
How cool. Have Haruka come in and tell him if she will. Yeah, so Todd Robertson had the most radical thing he ever did was get married and have a baby. I think Lilo's almost a year and a half old now. And so he wants to bring baby Lilo in.
She's walking strong. She's a beautiful little baby.
Yeah, she's deceptive because, the first baby comes out happy and goes to sleep at 8 and wakes up at 8.
When's the second one coming?
Yeah, and then the next one comes out. I remember Bill Cosby used to have a story where the second one comes out smoking a cigar, drinking whiskey.
There we go.
So,
that's good.
Here comes baby Lilo.
Woohoo!
Hi, Lilo. And we got my beautiful wife, Talon, and we got
Lilo.
Todd's wife, Haruka.
Hi.
Come and say hi.
Haruka.
Come and say hi.
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 Say it in Swedish, honey.
Hey.
No, you got to be this close.
Hey.
Hey, do. And Haruka, say it in Japanese.
Konnichiwa.
And Todd, say it in Big Island.
What?
We got so many more things to talk about with Crazy Todd. And Todd, thanks for bringing out some of that sweet stuff that Chuck got to share. And so
I would like to say in my final words,
yes,
I think I hear something. What is that?
it's my heartbeat.
Someone knocking on the door?
Who's that Tahitian
Whenever
person over
my
there?
whenever my wife comes in, my heart starts beating like that. Yeah.
Okay.
What are your final words?
I don't think I have enough time. Anyways, I just want to say to the world that yes, I am that cool. So if you ever see me on the beach, go ahead, walk up to me, shake my hand, and say how much you appreciate hearing me on the radio.
But don't ever stand in his shadow.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Are we done?
Okay. Aloha, you guys. Thanks. We'll be seeing you again next week. Aloha.
Hey!